Welcome! Here we go. So, oh my gosh, Kathy says it's a sad day in April. It's our last happy at home for this month. That is true. However, it's a happy day in April. Think of all of the fun that we have had this month. I've enjoyed these so much, says Sheila. A highlight to my day. So in case you are new here and you're catching this for the first time, my name is Alice Bull and I run the membership group at ScrapHappy.org. I'm so pleased that you're joining us for this happy at home live chat. It's all about scrapbooking, right? It's the thing that I love. I love telling stories. I love getting messy. I love making pages. I absolutely love the world of scrapbooking, and I love the communities that we build within the world of scrapbooking. So I super love this. Joyce is saying hi. We got Mamarazzi. I think that's Vicky, right? Yay, highlight of my rainy day in Oakville, Ontario. Happy Scrappy Sisters. Jacqueline's here. She says hi. Oh my gosh. So I'm so glad Kathy's here. Danelle. Yay! Fantastic. This is shaping up to be a great session. So I thought there was no better way to wrap up this super wonderful month than to actually talk about all the things that we've actually covered, because I've seen a few people here almost every day. Is there anyone? Just put your hand up in the comments and let me know if you've caught all of these, whether it's you missed one and you caught it on the replay, if you caught all of the live sessions. Like, that's amazing. I think there could be someone that has caught them all. So I'm so excited, and it has just been a joy because we have taken this opportunity to look at so many different elements that make scrapbooking more exciting, more fun, more meaningful. We figured out ways to tell better stories. We've kind of covered the gamut, right? Like, we've done so many things. And the funny thing is, there's more. There's always more. Danelle says a lot live and some on replay. Yes. Lisa is here from Brooklyn. Woohoo. Hi, Deidre. And Sheila says, I've seen them all live. Woo! I don't know if I have my proper sound effects in here. Oh, I think I do. I have this one. Hooray! I am so excited that you've been able to catch these all. And if you've missed something, or as we go through stuff today, if you're like, oh my gosh, I so do not remember this, or I need to go see that again, there is a playlist on this channel, on the ScrapHappy YouTube channel. There is a playlist called Happy at Home. You can click that and literally go through every single episode. But I thought today would be the perfect opportunity to do kind of like a highlight reel of all the fun stuff that we've covered. So yay! Wynell says, good afternoon. I did some on replay, but I've watched them all. And Tiffany says I haven't seen 2 of them, but caught most live. So they're all available. So let's go in our Wayback Machine, right? Hop in our time travel machine and think way back to April 1st, when we kind of kicked off this whole party. On the 1st of April, I thought it would be really fun for us to kind of dig into the world of watercolor and look at different ways that we can use watercolor in our scrapbooks. And so we shared lots of stuff, and can you guys have any idea how many layouts that I've shared throughout this month? It's been a lot. We've seen some of them a few times because they fit into several different categories, but I have shared so many layouts. If you need inspiration by seeing some layouts, we got it here for you. So way back when, we looked at watercolor and how we could make layouts with watercolor. And this was the layout that I put together with some of the pieces that we talked about. So I showed the stamping, how you can stamp. I showed painting a watercolor background. It is so much fun bringing watercolor into your pages. And the reason that I started with this, the reason I started with watercolor, yes, lots of awesome ones, thank you. The reason I started with watercolor is because it is one of my very favorite things. When I looked at some of my favorite pages that I made in 2019, they had watercolor on them. I just love the look. I love the effect, and I love the creative aspect of it. And it doesn't have to be too perfect, right? It's not like I'm painting the Mona Lisa and I have to get that fine line between, like, is it a grin or what? Is she smirking? Like, what does she know? I don't have to accomplish that. I can literally swipe some paint across the paper and make something beautiful. And yeah, this is not done. We'll talk about that in a second too. This happens a lot. Yay. Libby says, good afternoon. I can't believe how many sessions I've missed. Well, I am more excited about all the ones you've caught and the fact that you're going to have so many good things to catch up on. Right? It's all about that perspective. Okay. So after watercolor, that was our first foray into this happy at home world. And I shared that my favorite watercolor paper to use is a 12 by 12 pack from Prima, because it comes in 12 by 12. So it's like the perfect size for creating the layouts that I like. You're right, girl. Well, thanks. Yes, I am going to be, so this is not the end of our happy at home. Everybody who's having like, but I'm going to miss this so much. We're going to do these 2 days a week throughout the month of May. I just can't give it up. I love hanging out with you so much that I've decided this needs to be something that we do on a regular basis. So we are going to meet on Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays and Fridays throughout May. So I better write this down because I've been thinking about it, what day would be the best, but Tuesdays and Fridays are the best. Friday gets us there at the end of the week. Tuesdays aren't Monday, so it's kind of like a little bit sneaking into the week with a bit of a plan. I do all my planning on Monday mornings, and I think that will be really good. So Tuesdays and Fridays throughout the month of May. Tomorrow happens to be a Friday, and instead of hanging out here on YouTube, I'm actually going to be hosting a live crop. So if you want to actually scrapbook together, because this weekend, Saturday is International Scrapbooking Day. Woo! Let's see, I've got like a little thing. It's International Scrapbooking Day. So I'm really excited about that, and to kind of kick off our load thing. Yes, load is starting. I will have more details later. Deep breath, Alice, deep breath. But anyways, to kick that off and to have a good jump into the load challenge, I thought we should have some live crops. So tomorrow at this regular time, we're going to be doing a live crop using Zoom. So you have to get on my email list. That is available right there if you're not already. If you are, then you're going to have all the details. It's all good. So tomorrow, same time, we're going to be there on Zoom, scrapbooking together. Yay. And then on Saturday, we're going to scrapbook again on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're going to scrapbook again. Not all at the same time. Sharon says those sound effects are so cool. That's awesome. So make sure you're on this list. It will be in the comment section below, like the description or whatever. Not the comments, the description section below on the replay. So if you're like looking for this and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't click that link, Alice. It's not a link. I know. I get it. But it will be in the description below. So scraphappy.org. That's the important part. It's .org, not .com. Okay, and Sheila says, I already have them in my calendar. Will your videos in May be at the same time? Yes, the same time as this. I'm going to hold this time. It seems to work really good into my calendar. So Tuesdays and Fridays, the same time as this. 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so let's make this go away because, we like looking at it, but not that much. So let's make that go away. Oh, here's the thing. How do I put this in here? Let's do something off of my desktop. Can I figure it out? Oh, here we do. There. This is the times for the crops. Here we go. So if you need to see the crops, check it out. We have Friday, May the 1st at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's this time tomorrow. And Saturday, May 2nd at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And then on Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So these are the 3 different times for us to have our crops for this awesome International Scrapbooking Day weekend. So let's take that off of my face and pop that right there. Okay. Kathy says, I wonder if I can alter my work schedule when I go back to work to get home in time. So sneaky. That'll be super fun. So that is what's happening. Okay, let's keep moving forward. So our next thing that we talked about was multi-step stamping, and I would totally hold up my samples, except I sent them in the mail. I made some beautiful cards and I popped those babies in the mail. But basically we looked at stamps where you have an outline image and then you have color that you can fill in or have extra details of the stamp filled in. And I love multi-step stamping because you don't have to be an artist. You don't even have to mess around with watercolor if you're like, whoo, Alice, that's like too much for me. Multi-step stamping is a great way. And we looked at ways of getting different colors using one color. And we looked at ways of getting different colors when you use multiple colors. Different shades. So we looked at lots of those things. Sandy, not quite. We're super close. Like I'm literally texting back and forth with my tech guy, and he's like, okay, I got this working now, but not this thing. We just want to get it like totally perfect before I say, hey, everybody, check this out. I'm like, Sheila says that multi-step stamping is her favorite kind of stamping. Mine too. I think it's gorgeous. It's beautiful and it's easy. I like the easy. I'm all about that. I like things that are mucky if you get good results, but otherwise I just want easy. I want stuff that works and works consistently. So yeah, that was day number 2. So that was a fun way. But then after all of this stuff where we talked about stamping and, oh yeah, I had told you guys that my favorite ink, do I have it sitting here? I thought I did, is the Gina Kay Amalgam Black ink. It is amazing, magical, and it doesn't bleed. So you stamp it on your picture, stamp it on your image with the black ink, and then let it dry. It doesn't have to dry forever. It's not like one of those ones that lasts forever. But once it's dry, you can paint over it. You can use Copic markers with it. You can do like all the things, and it doesn't bleed and get all gooey and yucky and messy. So it's magical ink. Okay, but it's not called that. It's called Amalgam ink from Gina Kay Designs. So that was my favorite one. So I'm just kind of like going to throw all the little extra bonus tips in there. Lynn is saying hello, welcome. I'm so glad you made it. So that was that. But then we were talking so much about ink, and then I'm like, you know what we need? We need to compare different kinds of ink. So we pulled out some inks and we compared what the different kinds of inks did, some of the different effects that you could achieve with the inks. And so that's what we did on April the 3rd. So I compared Distress Oxide, Catherine Pooler ink, Distress ink, and my mom has really impeccable timing, guys. Like I swear, Mom, no, not right now. This is like, what, the 3rd or 4th time that she's tried FaceTiming me during this. And I have told my family, I'm like, every day. So, anyways, this Distress ink, close to my heart ink, and then I also used the Jane Davenport Squid ink. So, what was my takeaway of ink comparison? I'm a super big fan of these Distress Oxides. I just love them. I think they're wonderful. However, a new surprising winner came to the forefront, and that was these Catherine Pooler inks. I have heard everybody rave about these things, and I'm a fan. They are so nice. I love the texture of them, even just the texture of the pad part itself, because a lot of the Distress inks kind of have almost like a linen-y kind of pad, if that makes sense, you know, like that you stamp onto. These are almost like a little soft sponge area, and they had super good coverage. They blended super nice. They did interactive stuff with water. Like that was this orange one because that was the only color I did have at the time. However, I've since done some shopping. Speaking of shopping, if you have a local scrapbook store, please support your local scrapbook store. I love local scrapbook stores. Lots of them have found creative ways to bring their products online so that you can see them, so that you can order them. And I just want to say, please give your local stores a little bit of love if there's something you want to order. And if not, I would love it if you would use my link. I don't have it up here right now, but it will be underneath, and will take you to scrapbook.com. So if you're shopping and you're like, oh, Alice, I really need some of those inks, I don't have a local scrapbook store, then I'd love it if you'd use my link. It is bit.ly/scrappy shop. So that, so that will be available in that description underneath the video as well. So thank you so much for your support if you do use it, because, it's just a little thing, but it's funny how those little things add up over time. I know so many have closed for good near me years ago. At one time, the small town I live in, there was like a little fraction of a moment in time where we had 3 stores in my town. Like, my town has 8,500 people plus like outlying areas. Like 3, not 1, not 2, but with 3. 3 scrapbook stores, which was an amazing time. One of them was going out, one of them had just started, and we had the other one. So it was just a really good time for scrapbooking back then. Oh my gosh, the good old days. And speaking of the good old days, our next day was all about nostalgia and how we could make pages that was like the best segue ever. Like, I'm just gonna be like, give myself a little shout out for that, because that was like a super fun little segue. That was not the right noise. It was not the best one, but party time for sure. So nostalgia, like thinking about times from the gone by times, and how we can get more of that onto our pages. So let's just have a look. So we talked about having photos of things or not having photos of things. We talked about having 3D items that you can photograph or even video something, because sometimes that's even better, right? Maybe you only have a memory and you use online images. Maybe you have embellishments that help to kind of illustrate the story. There's a lot of different things you can do if you don't have a photo. I was going to say that. Nice work. Thanks. And sometimes nostalgic pages, they're generally a positive memory, but there's kind of always this hint of regret, sadness, loss perhaps. But maybe you want to scrapbook something like mementos from childhood, about your toys, about jewelry, people, places, activities, games, meals. So we really wanted to talk about that because we had Easter coming up. So many of us weren't together, and I wanted us to think of different ways that we could tell those nostalgic kind of stories, just so we could feel that connection to our past and stuff. So that was day number 6. It was a really good one. If you wanted to sit down and just be like, that was a good chat, Nostalgia Day was a good one. So I said we would come back to this because I am the queen for having some unfinished layouts. I'm a lot better about it now, and I know that I'll finish this one up soon. But I think I said that earlier this month too, so quote me. Our next day, day number 7, was all about unfinished layouts. And we talked about the reasons that we have unfinished layouts, and we talked about how we can kind of conquer some of those problems or some of those things that lead to those unfinished layouts. And we had some great crowdsource ideas. We have some ladies that keep their unfinished layouts or layouts that they made in a class or something. They keep them in a special album so that you can just flip through that album and say, I'm going to fill this in right now, or I'm going to pull this one out. It's a great way to kind of get to a page and actually use up those ones that you've actually pre-made. So thank you for those tips. I keep them coming. Keep them coming. Sheila says, my siblings are Zooming, but I told them I have more important things to do right now. Well, you guys just saw me. I blew up my mom for you. Just saying. I'll be like, I'll call you back, Mom. So, yeah, it happens. That's the good thing. Like, if you don't talk to them at this moment, we'll get to talk to them again because we're all hanging out. And next up, so after unfinished layouts, let's see, incomplete pages, incomplete layouts, stuff that were, pages that were missing something, pages that we left the journaling off of. Anybody else guilty? You know, it happens. Sometimes we don't know what to say. So we've actually tackled some of those problems even more in depth later on. So next up after unfinished layouts was moving interactive layouts. And you're like, if you want something that is like the most fun possibly that you can put onto pages, then interactive moving layouts was the best. I shared some of the coolest things that I have come across in 20 plus years of scrapbooking, and I have seen a few things. So let's have a look here. I put all my stuff, or as much as I could find here. Moving interactive layouts. I need one. It is in a page. Here was a fun one for moving interactive layouts. This was my son doing his flip, and the journaling is on a little spinner. So that was just one example of the fun kind of interactive things that we covered on day number 8. We had the spring thing, we had the secret slider, we had waterfalls, we had all kinds of fun things, and I also shared the spinner, so that was a fun one. Okay, after that, so that was on the 8th, and I have to say, like, after that day, I'm like, oh, am I going to be able to top this? Like, is anything going to be as fun as that? But the very next day, we stamped a scene, and I had the best time with this. And, like, we'll just say that I have basic skills when it comes to stamping a scene. Here is my page that is getting really close to being complete-ish, almost, sorta, kinda. But anyways, we stamped out this scene using these stamps from 3 Room Studio. Huge fan, and in fact, I know that several of you were fans because I've seen that you've ordered them right from Sandy or from Simon Says Stamps or some of the other place that she had them, and I've seen people get them already and use them and tag me on Instagram, and I was just like, it's been the best. So I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for me. And in case you missed it, today is the last day to catch. So I did this stamping. It was good. It was super fun. Sheila said that might be my favorite day. I love that scene. It turned out so cool. And I took suggestions from people. People saved the day with like things that kind of went wrong. So it was kind of neat. But then the following week, we had Sandy from 3 Room Studio. She came on to my Scrap Smarter session, and the replay for that will go away tonight. I can leave it up till tomorrow, okay? I'll leave it up till tomorrow. But the replay for the 3 Room Studio Scrap Smarter, where she taught us how to properly mask and stamp a scene. Like, she took this, which was fun, very much my doable level, and she like took it like next level. It was insane. It's beautiful, and you can still catch that if you go to ScrapHappy.org and just look in the menu. There's a thing that says Scrap Smarter. The replay is right there. And I think I've even posted it temporarily on YouTube so that people get to see it, because it's so awesome. It's so awesome. She was like, that scene was so fun. That is so cool. Says Jacqueline. Pretty awesome. Yeah, that was just it was a fun one. And, you know, I've decided that I'm going to keep it black and white like this. I had a really hard time. I'm like, ooh, I could color that. And I'm like, oh, with your coloring skills, I don't know about that, girl. So I think I'm gonna leave it black and white, and I like it. So I could always do another one if I want, and I can color it, you know. So there's options, right? I have the stamps. I can do it again. The next thing that we had, so that was stamping a scene on the 9th of April. And we finished off this week. It was Good Friday. And I said, we're not going to just have Good Friday. We're going to make it a great Friday. And we got to hang out with our Scrappy family instead of with our actual families. So everyone that was there for that, thank you so much for joining me. We talked about, this is like the awkwardest phrase, but cooperative effort pages. And basically the idea behind that are pages where you're bringing other people's information into the page to help fulfill the page and tell the story, provide the photos possibly. And I think it was super fun. So we talked about things like using quotes, having interviews with people. We talked about having people share their photos with you or borrowing their photos from social media, like especially for your kids or something like that, right? We talked about lots of different things, and we talked about how you can make lists of favorites for people and how it's a really easy introductory way to be able to get somebody's input without having them do a lot of work. I know, collaborative pages. I know, that's good. I did see your suggestion. I know. Actually, I think I've used those words interchangeably. So when you go to the ScrapHappy site, if you click on the blog, it says blog at the top. You can go to the blog, and there's actually a page there, and it says like cooperative effort pages or something like that, or getting people involved or whatever it's called. And there's a download on there where you can download the list of favorites. There's like, I don't know, 60 some different things that you might want to include on a list of favorites. There's a download there where you could have people, like you could download it and choose your favorites. Plus I made like American spelling favorite without the U, and then I made the one for the Canadians, UK, Aussie gals with U's in the words like color and favorite because we like to spell things differently. I didn't say right. You heard me. I didn't say right. That we like to spell things right. I might have meant it, but cheeky. I know, so cheeky. So the lots of good ideas there, and that was like a little bonus thing that you could download from that. Then Kathy collaborates on many of my pages, and I'm so thankful. Awesome idea. You got my wheels spinning like crazy. Oh my goodness. And so many of the things that are on that favorites list are perfect to instead turn into a top 10. So, maybe it's TV shows. Instead of saying what your favorite TV show is, maybe you just do a thing where it's like your top 10 TV shows. Because can you pick one? I'd like to know. If you have like one favorite TV show and you're like, nope, this is the very best one. It's my very all-time favorite. Put that in the comments because I'd love to know. And I'm like, maybe there's something I'm missing out on. Although, I have worked my way through a lot of Netflix. I've been working my way through some Amazon Prime lately. So if there's something else, but all-time favorite TV show, let me know. I'd love to see. But yeah, it's like perfect for turning into top 10. So like that idea, the download that's there can turn into so much more. And just, it's a really good way to have other people's contributions to your layouts, to the pages, to the stories without, either with their help on purpose or not. Sheila says, I tried interviewing my mother-in-law about my husband as a kid, but she has Alzheimer's, so she just laughed. I'm going to ask his grandmother instead. She'll tell me the truth about his shenanigans. I love it. I did confess in that one how when my family gets chatting and they're starting to tell stories from the past, that I put my phone on silent and I kind of record the conversation. In Canada, that's totally legal, just saying. Like, you have to be in the room where the recording is, and you have to be part of it. You can't just like leave a recorder behind. But I'm just not saying like don't be like breaking any laws, but maybe you want to record some conversations. It's a good way to kind of do that. Fancy scrapper Cynthia, she says Grey's Anatomy. There you go. Grey's Anatomy. I think one of my favorite TV shows that I ever saw was actually the very first series I ever watched on Netflix. It was called White Collar. It's not on there right now. I thought it was wonderful. It was my favorite. So that possibly is my favorite TV show of all time. I don't know. Anyways, so after that, we came back on Monday. We didn't take any days off. We did, we have done every single weekday through April. And so on the following Monday, we talked about acrylic embellishments. And the timing could not have been more perfect because I had just received a bunch of lovely new acrylic embellishments from one of my favorite shops online, Color Cast Designs. White Collar was so good, so Sheila. Libby says MASH. Oh my gosh, this is super fun. Even before she got sick, you could have asked and she would tell you that Eddie was perfect. Yeah, so this is super fun. I love using acrylic embellishments. We shared lots of layouts with examples of using them, and it was a really good thing. And we had people on there that have never used acrylic embellishments, so that was kind of fun. Like, it's something that I've used quite a bit and I really enjoy, but I like being able to introduce something. People like, I've never even seen these before. Where do you get these? Those look really fun. So that was really fun to kind of say, Kathy, Big Bang Theory. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that's a tough call. That might be like, it is so funny. Like, oh my gosh. Last Man Standing. Oh, well, yeah. So, Tim Allen is so funny. I used to watch Home Improvement back in the day. Sharon says original Law and Order. Oh, so many good favorites. But it's hard to pick one, right? So, like, I'm just like, maybe it was White Collar. Ooh, Big Bang Theory. Where do you go with that? So, Jane the Virgin. I've never actually seen that one. Yeah, Law and Order. I used to watch that a lot too, actually. Anyways, so after acrylic embellishments, we did some experimentation and we played with Nouveau Drops. We played with Nouveau Drops. Am I holding that upside down? Probably. So we played with Nouveau Drops, and this was a really fun thing to do. And I'm so glad that I visited the Nouveau booth at Creativation because first of all, I met Maria, and she was a dream, such a darling, and so sweet. And then I also got to see just how cool some of these drops are when you use them on different colors of paper. And I was like, this is pretty awesome. Oh my God, that's the funniest comment. I need to put this up. I forgot that I can even do that. Okay. So we're living like Home Improvement guy in the yard with social distancing, like the neighbor over the fence where all you ever see is the top of his head. Love it. It's like, hello, stay away from me. Anyways, yeah, so we had a lot of fun looking at the different kinds of drops. Some of the drops do different things. Does this go away? Maybe I have to click it. Okay. I have different settings set up on my other computer, but let's not go into tech problems right now. So Daniela says, I found my Nouveau Drops. They were the crystal and they look so good. So yeah, I compared some different ones. I had some of the crystal drops. Some of them were like, kind of just regular crystal drops, and some of them were the glossy crystal drops. I also had dream drops. I had some new vintage drops that I had never tried before. Mr. Wilson. Thank you, Sheila. Yeah. And Kathy. And Everybody's like, Mr. Wilson. The glitter drops. And then we even kind of threw some stickles on here for some comparison. So my vintage drops turned into little chocolate chips. Like they literally have like the little bit that sticks out the top. They're sharp. They poke me in the finger because I keep poking them. And kind of funny. So we did see that the dream drops were a little tacky still after the first day. So we let them dry further. And now they're like super good. Dream drops make the best drops. If you want like the perfect little round drops that settle, that self-level, that's like the fancy word, right? Dream drops are your good starting point. So that's what I would recommend. The glitter drops actually turned out really good too. I like the crystal drops, but look at how you get like fancy effects using some of those drops on the paper. And like sometimes it's not like what you'd expect because I use the same ones on like both, and sometimes like the white, like they're nice, but you put them on the black and it's like, ooh, look what's hiding there. So, and Joy says I'm told that Nouveau Drops work best if you warm them in your hand, and I think I would definitely try that again when I pull out my vintage ones next time. But if I need to bake, like when I have some pictures of baking cookies actually from recently, and I am literally going to use those vintage drops just like this to make some chocolate chips on my page. Like how cool would that be? I think it'll be great. I might need to like kind of build some of the other elements up on the page so that they're not like too pokey, so they poke my page protector too much, but I think it'll be hilarious. After that, we did a session on the 15th about distressed crayons. So let me turn my little thing here. And distressed crayons. So we pulled these out and we played around with them to see what we could create. We had a lot of fun. Are these some of the things? I don't even know. Oh, I've used a bunch of them. I mailed them actually. I mailed a bunch of them. But I do have some fun backgrounds that we kind of swatched. These are my light ones. Some we colored direct onto paper. So if you kind of want to see how these work and how you can play with them, then that was a really fun thing to try and see. I think that these are a pretty good deal if you want to play. Maybe you don't have watercolors and you want to play with some watercolor stuff. This is just a really, I kind of like them, so quite fun. And we even compared them to gelatos, so there was the whole, we kind of got everything in there a little bit. Sheila says, I had never used my crayons before that day, and now I've used them a couple of times. Yes! Yes! That is like a party. That is like definitely, we got the... That is a party. That is like the best thing I could hear. Seriously. When I hear that, you know, I'd never used these things, then Alice did the little session. We did our happy at home session together, and then you use them. Seriously, that just like, makes my heart happy. So super fun. I'm really happy to hear that. So yeah, distressed crayons, that was fun. And then this might be my favorite one. It's a hard call because I've had lots of favorite ones, but talking about creating mood on a scrapbook page, I really love that. I really love it. So creating mood, and it just depends on what kind of mood you want to create. And we've talked about some other things as well, but depending on what kind of mood you're trying to create, what did I show? I've got layouts here, but not the ones that I thought I did. But, you know, maybe you're trying to make something have like a certain softness or a certain feel to it. Maybe you want to show action and excitement. Here's some action and excitement, right? Like the candy that explodes in your mouth, Pop Rocks. And I think we maybe talked about this on texture too, because I've got these little things on springs. I don't know, they came up a few times, but you know, you keep scaring my cat. Sorry, kitty. But I think that creating mood on a scrapbook page is a really great consideration for yeah, when you have a page about kids, you use bright colors. When you can use different things to create action, to show action. And so, oh, hey, Katrina Lee. Oh, yay. I made a collage layout after the documenting connections the other day. Oh my gosh. See? This is so fun. So fun. Yeah, we talked about like things like birthdays. It's kind of obvious on how to create the mood on that, right? Because there's so many elements that are designed for that. So it's like, yay, I'm going to use the bright colors. I'm going to throw on some party features and balloons and stuff like that. But yeah, there were other things you can do to kind of create a mood. And so we shared lots of layouts that day. That was a fun one. If you like looking at layouts and kind of seeing how you can pull ideas for your own scrapbooking out of it, that was a good one. Yeah. So next up, now this was a good one because it got people to pull out their supply, to pull out their tool and use it. On the 17th, which was my anniversary, thank you for all the wishes because that was super sweet of everyone. We talked about the fuse tool. In fact, we talked about the fuse tool, we talked about shakers, we talked about flip-flaps, and we talked about pocket pages. So we really went to town that day and kind of covered a little bit of everything. But we pulled out the fuse tool. I literally made a shaker pocket on the stream. Listen how cool it sounds. And I showed you a card that I had made before using that. I showed lots of layouts and how I've applied that fuse tool. And one of the best tips from the day was the fact that I use my fuse tool to put a little tiny closed section at the top of pocket page layouts, especially the ones where the pictures are or the cards are popping out the top of the page protector. So if you're a pocket person, you'll understand the pain and suffering of having your stuff pop out. You don't have to even seal the whole piece of the pocket. If you just seal enough of it to keep your card or your photo inside, it just makes looking at your album so much easier. So much easier. Sheila says, I pulled my fuse tool out, plugged it in, and never used it. It's back in the closet. Oh, so close. We were so close. I do know that April had pulled hers out and she took it out of the packaging and everything. So I was like excited to see that. She shared a picture and I'm like, oh, good. I love seeing that when people use it because you buy the tool for a reason, right? We might as well find some way to use it. But yeah, that was a fun day because and it's not just fuse tools, like there's other ways and other things that you can use, but I think having the little interaction and the different textural opportunities that they provide, they're super fun. Finally, after the fuse tool, we had the weekend off again, right? Take the weekend off, but we came back with some fun. And some people were a little bit disturbed by this one, I'll confess. So that might be the biggest clue as to what it was. But we used the bubble technique. I learned this from Vicky Boutin, and she had shared the bubble technique. So right here on camera, I mixed the paint with a little bit of soap, with a little bit of water. We were blowing bubbles with the straw and making bubbles kind of like milk bubbles and then dipping the paper into the bubbles. It was crazy. It was hilarious. And it was so much fun. Kathy says, I couldn't live without the fuse tool. And Sheila says, Kathy, your concert pages were so cool. Oh yes, I forgot to even mention. That was like the best. I was reached out. Kathy's like, Alice, I made a really great project with my fuse tool. And so she sent me pictures and we were able to share them during our chat about it. And like concert tickets and pictures and oh my gosh, like just the way you brought it all together. So good. So serious round of applause and thank you for sharing it with us. I really appreciate it. So yes, the bubbles were interesting because they didn't work perfectly well. Let's kind of revisit that. When we first started, I could not get enough color to actually make it look impressive at all. Sheila says, let's not talk about the bubble day ever again. But this paper looks so neat. I can't wait to use it. I just need like the right thing. Afterward, I actually made a whole nother cup, and I made some purple, and then I did some of the cards in blue and some in purple and some in both, and I just had the best time with it. Oh, I finally found those cards for the Distress Crayon Day, guys. So we showed using distress crayons with bubble wrap, with packaging techniques, straight off of the paper, just different things, straight onto the cards and then watercoloring it out. Yeah, so we did lots of fun stuff with the distress crayons. And then, yeah, I had a lot of fun with the bubbles. Katrina says, I still need to try it. It was really neat. You needed a generous portion of paint is what I discovered. Not that many bubbles. And yeah, it was fun. And then I had scooped some of that foam. Parts of it got a little foamy. And I scooped some of it onto here. And texturally, it's not the kind of thing I'd really want to put into my scrapbook. I'm a little bit worried that it's like too soapy. But I still want to turn this into a card. I think it will get covered a lot. So it will be less like, oh my gosh, what is that? But I think it'll be all covered up. Orchard Girl says, Alice, thank you so much for all of the April videos. You made such a difference in my life. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. I am so glad. This has just been super fun. And we've made like really interesting things along the way. And I love exploring. I love playing. And so this has just been a lot of fun. So the day after that, we moved on from the bubbles, all is well in the world, and we moved on to texture. Dawn says, I love the bubbles. See, it's good. Not everybody was like, oh no. I will tell you, if the sound of that would drive you crazy, then don't go watch day number 20. Vicky Boot and Bubbles. It says it right in the title, so it's not like you're gonna see it accidentally. It's all good. Yeah, I could put clear acrylic on top of the bubbles. It's a good idea. I made that one a card size, so I think it'd be fun. Anyways, the next day was all about texture, and ooh, I love texture. I love finding different ways to bring different textures to my pages. So we talked about all of the texture things. We talked a little bit about stencils because we did a whole day later about stencils, so just a little bit. But we talked about textured papers and shiny paper and glittery paper and vellum paper and mulberry paper and flocked paper and crumpled paper and cut up like grass effect using paper and embossed paper. And one of the things I think I shared during that was this fun little bee page with my niece. So cute and little. But you can see like the embossed texture that I've included with the honeycomb effect. So that was kind of fun. We also talked about dimensional layers, using die cuts, using thickers, using shakers, using sparkles and sequins and buttons, mirrors and googly eyes even. So different things that give us some texture on the page. We talked about some ribbons and fibers. We talked about metals and brads and eyelets and springs. And we talked about the acrylic embellishments, wood veneers, chipboard, paints, fibers, rocks even. So we covered everything that I could possibly think of. It's like, how have I ever made a page feel like something? And we talked about it that day. So that was a super fun one. And so here as a great example of a texture page with 10 million blingies and buttons and everything was this page that weighs a lot. So so that was like an over the top texture page. But it was a lot of fun. I showed a lot of layouts on that one too. So that's another one to tag. If you like seeing a lot of layouts, lots of ideas, I did a lot. Sheila says you could you could paper piece to add texture to, oh my gosh, like there's so many. I love the options for texture on paper, and it doesn't all have to be chunky, right? Like I like there's a lot of options for adding texture to a page without making them bulky. It doesn't have to be. Katrina says, I miss when pattern paper used to come in awesome textures like the Chatterbox and My Mind's Eye. If you like textured pattern paper, my best suggestion is the Cartabella paper from Echo Park. Echo Park Cartabella, all of their Cartabella line is their textured paper. So they have their regular Echo Park lines, and then they have their Cartabella lines, and those ones are textured. And that's like the only one that I really can think of off the top of my head that's like that. Iris paper piecing. Oh, I thought maybe that was a thing. It's easy and it looks cool. I actually don't know what that is. I've got something to look up later, guys. I'm excited. Iris paper piecing. Maybe I'll see it and I'll be like, oh, I didn't know it was called that. Or maybe I'm like gonna learn something new today, which is awesome. This journal girl is drooling over all of those buttons, is done. I know. This one was insane. So behind the scenes, I didn't really talk about this. What I did to create this page, I used some like super thick cardstock to mount everything on. And then I drew my middle circle kind of here, and then I kind of split the page into radial sections so that you could kind of see. Authentique also has textured paper, says Marsha. So I kind of split it into sections. And so then I started applying my things within that area and kind of blending them into the next color zone as we kind of reached the edge of them. So that was just a really kind of fun thing. So that was kind of a little behind the scenes. And pretty much it has, it has more glue dots on it than embellishments, actually. So shout out to glue dots, because I love you, because that's, do you see how it's actually all stuck? That's because I use glue dots. So shout out glue dots. I love them. Design Bundles has a great digital bundle for textures, and Katrina says I have one like that, and it's one of my favorites too. I know, I had seen something different. It was kind of like just a rainbow effect or something on Pinterest at one point, and that inspired this one. I still love it. Okay, our next date on the 22nd, we talked all about the load challenge, and I shared my layouts from the previous load challenge in February when we did the Memories Managed load challenge inspired by Harry Potter. So tonight is our load challenge. I'm laughing because I've had a bit of a time getting to this right now. Tonight is the beginning of our next load challenge. It starts tonight. We are only a few hours away from the beginning of our next load challenge. The registration is not fully open yet, so that has been a thing. This is like my little moment of this being this close to melting down. Seriously, you guys are seeing it. It's real. Yeah, it was, it's been an intense time. There was some website things that we had to deal with, things that weren't working the way they were supposed to. And, we're really close to having it sorted out. So what I have decided to do, so Load is the Layout a Day challenge. We actually make a page every single day for a whole month. It is like the best challenge that I have ever seen for scrapbooking, because it takes you off in so many different directions. It just, for me, it's the funnest experience I've ever had in scrapbooking. Plus, it challenges you to tell different stories. And the pages that I've made during load challenges have just been some of my most fun pages ever. They're some of my very favorite ones. So we talked all about it on the 22nd. load this month is inspired by the Beatles. You can see over there, those picture of the Beatles is up there. I'm super excited. It's called Abby Load. I'm going to be sending out my email to the people that have signed up for my emails at that link right there. It'll be in the description box underneath. And we're going to extend the registration period. Usually it's like closes tonight, but it's not going to close tonight because I need to extend it so that people can get into the room. It just is what it is. But it's going to be amazing. Like the challenge itself is great. It's once the tech guy has all of the stuff, and like the worst part is it's not the tech stuff that prevents us from doing the stuff. It's just like the membership stuff is just, it's being a bit of a pain in the butt, but he's got it. So he's got it. He's been texting me and I'm like, is it ready? Is it ready? And because I want to, like, you know, send happiness into the world, I'll be putting like a super good coupon for people that are not ScrapHappy members yet. That is the other option. You can be a ScrapHappy member and take part in all of our load challenges. But if you're not, then that email is going to be where you're going to get your coupon from. So I know, Sheila says, that's horrible news. It's so painful. My tech problems lately, like I thought that we had survived some stuff last year, but like I'm on a different computer right now because my laptop battery is dead. I'm actually on a different computer than my backup computer from up here because the hard drive on it is dead. Like, so yeah, it's just been like, ready for things to just work, please. Just want stuff to work. But yeah, so let me tell you about the load challenge. This one's inspired by the Beatles. So every day we're going to be looking at either a song or something about the Beatles themselves or something about their story. And we're going to be using that as inspiration to tell our stories. So every day there is a story prompt and there is a technique prompt. You can choose to use the story, you can choose to use the technique, you can choose to use both, or you can be like, no, I'm going to just do my own thing, because the overall goal of load is to make a layout a day for the month. And then we load them into our gallery on the ScrapHappy site, and we have a forum there so we can chat. All of the things are going to be set up. If you can't get into your account right now, that's because he's literally like getting that sorted out. And if you need to renew, that's going to be available. I'll have the emails out as soon as he possibly has it ready. If we're unable to get into our account, will you post it? I'll make sure everybody has access to it. Yeah, for sure. And the great thing is that during these different crops that we're going to be doing over the next 3 days, I'm going to be using the prompts. So I'll be talking about it and telling you how I'm using it. So come and participate in these live crops. You gotta be on that email list, right? And that's how you'll get info about that too. So you'll kind of get to see it. And we're going to extend the little open period so that people can get in. So it'll be super fun. Kathy says, I can't wait to relive my Beatlemania days. Guaranteed there's a prompt for that. Just hint, hint, wink, wink. So no, I'm super excited. The stuff is so good. This other stuff, he's almost got it. There was just, one thing led to one more thing, and then that led to one more thing, and I'm like, okay. It is what it is. But I didn't want to open it up and then create a bunch of problems before we got those solved. So that's why I'm like, I'm going to push back. I'd rather start late. Like, I'd rather push back this to make sure that things are working before I'm like, hey, everybody go in here and have a look. I'd much rather make sure that it's good rather than frustrating. So yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, we talked about load on the 22nd. Then on the 23rd, we brought Deetra on to show us all about how we can really take our TNs, our traveler's notebooks, to the next level, and different ways to actually create a traveler's notebook on the go, and how you can like take that ephemera and the memorabilia from your life and actually put that into the albums. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Katrina says, Kathy, I'm such a Beatles fan. I'm so excited. I don't think I realized what a Beatles fan I was until I started doing all the research. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I've had the best time getting ready for this load. It has been so fun. So I can't wait to bring that to you through the challenge, because that's the part that I think that's the part I excel at. So Danelle says, Kathy, my mom was a Paul McCartney fan girl back in the day. I can totally see why. I've been watching old videos. I can see why. So yes, that is a thing. Yeah, so we talked about traveler's notebooks. Then the next day we talked all about stencils. So we went there on stencils. And I showed you texture with stencils, right? The awesome textures and stuff that you can create. We played. I showed you some other papers that I use with stencils, just with sprays and mists. We went there. And then we played with some other texture paste because it was time to get crafty and creative again. So I brought out my Vicky Boutin paste. It's texture paste, iridescent glitter. I used some of that. And thankfully, because we had some fun people in the house, they're like, Alice, you need to put that on some jewel tone paper. You're going to love it. And bam, that was right. And I happen to have some black paper handy, and look at that. That is all done with the same paste, guys. Like, how cool. So cool, right? So cool. Kathy says, Danelle, Paul was my fave for a long time, but then I thought that I would have a better chance with Ringo, so I switched. Oh my gosh. Like, just with all the research I know, like, oh my god, it's all coming alive for me right now. It's hilarious. And then we also played with some gel medium texture paste. And that was this Liquitex flexible modeling paste. And we did some fun stuff with that. Just getting it onto the paper. And then using a little bit of distressed crayon. And then using some texture paste and spraying mist over top. And then I just used what was left over on top of the thing and just mucked it around and played with it. Like, oh my gosh, I had the best time with that. So that was super fun. I came from the days of Elvis Presley. They loved Elvis Presley, Sharon. Like, that was a thing. Like, they were totally inspired by him. And so they kind of dethroned him, right? They kind of took that top spot from him, but like, they were huge fans. And like, there's lots of stuff where they refer to him and how much they loved him. So this is kind of cool. Oh, Joyce says, me too, Sharon. I was president of the Chicago Elvis fan club. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. The fan club. So fun. Oh, the buttons are so small. I think I missed something there. Must have missed something. So after stencils, we talked about making connections. So this was on the 27th. This was this past Monday. So if you missed this one, this is so good. We talked about Stacey Julian's podcast, Exactly Enough Time. That's what it's called, right? Exactly Enough Time? Let me, Just Enough Time. I always get them back. Okay. Just Enough Time is her podcast. And she was talking in episode 31 about documenting connections, and it's like literally one of my favorite tips in telling better stories. And like, I went back and I looked, and actually in the description on that episode, I shared the link to my old blog post. I think it was from 2013 or something, where I had actually shared this page where I had made the connection between my kids on the skidoo with my dad and me and my brother on the skidoo with my dad, and telling the stories, and just the best. So making connections, such a good episode, really like a good chatty one too. And then not yesterday, on the 28th, it was all about problem solvers. So those little problems that we have when we come up to scrapbooking, sometimes it's with our photos, sometimes it's with the actual stuff. And so I showed you some fun problem solvers, and I kind of shared like this fun Superman inspired one, you know, with the little zipper. It doesn't work, but it's good. Yeah, I know. Right the first time. Exactly enough time? Oh, that's funny. Is it exactly enough time? I have it written down in here. See, I say I know, terrible. But then I also shared this one. So this was like a big hit. This layout, normal little layout, is actually, it has foam tape all around it. And inside I've created a giant pocket for all of my newspaper clippings, which I have color copied so that I could share them in here. So that was super good way to kind of keep everything all together in a page. So that was a really fun tip on the problem solving day. And then yesterday was all about die cuts. And yesterday was all about die cuts. We shared lots of fun pages using die cuts. I think this one was just one of my faves. I love adding the little sparkles in there. I think it's super fun, and I think that that's just, die cuts are a lot of fun. So if you're not into die cuts, or you're not into die cuts yet, or you don't have a die cut machine, you'll want to catch that one, because I share all the tips whether you have a machine or not. So, oh my, wow, thank you. So the pocket idea will work. Scorecards and programs from baseball games. Oh yeah. Fuse tool, another option, Sheila. Pockets, fuse tools. I know, so many good ideas for doing stuff like that. I love that, doing it with the class pictures and report cards. Thanks. Yay. I know, because like, where do you put some of that stuff? And it's still narrow enough to kind of be able to put into a page protector. Like the page behind it will have to be pretty flat. Like it won't be able to be like a big thick, chunky page on the back side of it. It's going to need to be something kind of flat. The pocket idea is amazing. You need to watch that episode. Yeah, that was the 28th problem solvers. Yeah, and then die cuts. So much down. So this is the best idea. I wrote that one down to remember. Yay! I'm so glad that I've been able to share this. That has been an absolute joy for me. It has been so much fun that I'm motivated to keep going with these. And we'll see what we come up with for May. But every Tuesday and Friday in May, I will be back for our new Happy at Home mini-series. I don't know what to call it. It's still going to be Happy at Home sessions. It just won't be every day. And I think it's just going to be lots of fun. There's like so many things. I was like, oh, you know, I haven't talked about this. Oh, I haven't talked about this. There's lots of good stuff. Scrapbooking is just, it's a diverse world. And I think there's so many ways for us to dig into it. And there's a lot of options for us to have some fun with it. So I can't wait to do more of these sessions. So thank you so much. I will do one more bid. Get on my email list, because we have more fun stuff coming up. We have our International Day crops, and this is going to be, they're free for everybody. They're going to be on Zoom. So come and join me for this. Literally tomorrow is the first one at this time. So they're super fun. And I'd love to scrapbook with you this weekend. This is also going to be in your email if you're signed up. So it's all good. That's also how you get the links for it. And yeah, so this has just been such a blast. If you're curious about getting into the whole load thing, that will be in your email. And I'm just going to show you really quickly here. Why is this not doing what I want? Oh, that's hilarious. This thing keeps popping up here where I wanted to be able to just click something. There. This is the link for my load right here. There we go. Abby Load is the name of the game. This is what we are doing for the month of May in the ScrapHappy group. It is going to be open for registration very shortly. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you'll consider joining me so that we can have a fun month of scrapbooking together, inspired by the Beatles. And yeah, lots of good times. Okay, so Kathy says, great episode. Thanks for sharing everything that I've missed. I know what you'll be doing and what I'll be doing tonight. See you tomorrow in Zoom. Yay, that's perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a fabulous day. If you toss me one of those thumbs up on the way out, that would be super fabulous. And I will see you again really soon. Okay, bye.